I still remember the way we met, how his smile lit up the dreary night like fireworks against the inky sky. Lucas had an air about him, something magnetic, that pulled me in from the first hello. We matched on a dating app, one that I'd almost given up on amidst endless swipes left and right. But something about his profile, perhaps the slightly arrogant yet sincerely self-deprecating humor, made me pause. We connected immediately, our chats much like the rolling tides, ebbing and flowing with ease, never forced. When we finally decided to meet, my hands trembled from excitement, anticipation buzzing under my skin like a live wire. At our first meeting in a quaint cafe, he spotted me before I him, his broad smile warming the cool autumn air. As weeks turned into months, our relationship blossomed into something tangible, something real. Lucas was attentive, always there with a thoughtful gesture or a shared smile over silly inside jokes. It felt like I'd finally found my person, my soulmate. Life seemed to shift into harmony. However, as time went on, subtle cracks began to appear. At first, I ignored them. A missed phone call here, a forgotten promise there, those were no reasons to worry, I convinced myself. But cracks have a way of growing, much like the silence that started to hang between us. Everything came to a head one evening when I decided to surprise Lucas with his favorite dinner. That night, the city was quiet, the murmurs of distant traffic a soothing lullaby. Arriving at his apartment, I was surprised to find the door slightly ajar. I stepped in quietly, intending to sprinkle sweet spontaneity into our routine. I saw him before he noticed me. Lucas was sitting on the couch, a stranger's laughter entwined with his own. My heart plunged into the moment like a cold stone in still water as I stood, frozen, trying to make sense of the scene unraveling like a nightmare. "Who's this?" I asked, finally finding my voice, though it trembled like the finest veneer. He looked up, startled, and I saw something flicker in his eyes, guilt. "Maya," he began, the name a featherlight touch that felt heavy. "I had been meaning to tell you." It all came crashing down then, an avalanche of truths and years of delicately built expectations crumbling under its weight. He stumbled through an explanation, but all I heard was a roar, a deafening end to what I had thought was love. Tears clouded my vision, mixing with rage and betrayal, emotions tangling into a gnarly mess. I'd vowed never to be one of those heartbreak cliches, yet here I was, living one. The stranger, who I learned was called Ella, watched awkwardly, caught in the crossfire of this unraveling drama. As Lucas continued to speak, words like mistake and too fast, thrown desperately into the void, I backed away slowly, feeling the grip of reality tighten around my heart. I threw the dinner to the floor, the sound of breaking glass the final note in this sorrowful symphony. As I walked out, the world seemed darker, the weight of disappointment and betrayal heavy in the chilly air. Months passed, the ache lingering like a stubborn bruise, bittersweet and expansive. But healing is a journey, it comes in waves, moments of clarity surfacing between the swells of new pain. One day, just over a year later, as I sat sipping coffee in the same quaint cafe where it all began, a familiar laugh reached my ears. I turned, old instincts making my heart thump wildly. There he was, Lucas, his eyes catching mine across a room filled with strangers. Yet the shock of recognition was not accompanied by longing or regret, only a sense of peace. It was then that I realized I was free. From the past, from the ghosts that had haunted my thoughts. Free to face forward, into the uncharted waters of new beginnings. I turned back to my book, a smile playing on my lips. Sometimes, the most unexpected endings lead to the most beautiful starts.